How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we have the full review of Amazing Defenders. Should you buy it? What's in the set? Are the archetypes released actually going to be impactful? We're going to go over all of that to help you make a decision whether to buy this set or not. Before we begin, make sure to leave a thumbs up on the video, subscribe if you are new as always, and Amazing Defenders, it's the first set of 2023 actually, releasing on January 20th. Tournament legality. It's a deck building set, those sets where the commons are actually rares, similar to the Grand Creators, and every deck building set introduces 3 new archetypes, and it doesn't have a lot of cards in the set overall. So the things that are going to be introduced in this set are the Rescue Ace monsters. Those are machine monsters based around sort of more of a control strategy. We have the Pureleys, which are an Xyz archetype that is based around like sort of a towers interaction style of gameplay, and probably the best out of the 3 in my opinion currently. And we also have an Equip archetype that also has a ritual monster called Mechanco. So we're going to go over each archetype, what it actually does, and the reprints and maybe supposed reprints that we should get in the set as well, and let you know if you actually should buy the set or not. If you want 5% off any single or sealed product and want to support me and the channel, head over to tierzerogames.com and use code GALZO5 at checkout. So the first thing that I want to go over are the Mechancos. The Mechancos are Equip spell based focused archetype. They have 2 main deck monsters who are the Hare and the Nini. Water Spellcaster, Fire Warrior, both level 3s, and the quote-unquote boss monster of the deck, that is the Mechanco of the Uhime, which is probably your win condition in the deck. So the gist of the deck is that you have this monster that has 0 attack, 0 defense, can be destroyed by battle, and your opponent takes any battle damage that you would take from battles involving this card instead of you. So the main goal is to get your opponent's monsters to a lot of attack so that you can just attack those monsters for game, basically. That's the whole premise. The way it does it is, of course, this monster and the weird ritual spell that also has an effect that you can destroy cards your opponent controls up to the number of equip spells with different names in your graveyard, and inflict 1,000 damage for each one of them. So non-targeting destruction, this could easily do like 4,000 or 5,000 damage if you have those cards in your graveyard, and this is why this archetype probably works really well with things like Isolde. And we already know one of the reprints in the set, at least on the OCG side, was Infernoble Knight Renaud. So I think overall, combining this with a heavy equip spell strategy, things like Infernobles, things like Neospace Connector to get to your Isolde faster, things like the Bamboo Swords that can search each other. What it does is basically get your opponent to a very big monster. You hit them with the ritual spell before, you get them to a big monster, you just attack it with the ritual, and this has, the archetype also has cards that prevent your opponent from interacting with your monsters while you're attacking, things like that. The whole support revolves around sort of like OTKing and putting out a lot of damage with this strategy. I think this is probably the worst one out of all of the strategies in this set, but I also think that it's very interesting that they went this way. It's very interesting that this is actually a ritual monster, that the ritual spell card actually burns. It's kind of weird, but I do like this. I think that Infernoble Knights were printed a lot during the past few years. Maybe another reprint of Isolde, maybe it's a rare even, would be nice. And yeah, we'll go over the reprints in a second as well, because that kind of ties into the Mechancos and all archetypes actually. But this is the first archetype, the Mechancos. The second one is the Pureleys. So Pureleys, this is probably, in my opinion, the best archetype out of the 3. I've played against it. It's very annoying. They have a very strong towers, and this archetype revolves around this little cute monster and 3 quick play spell cards that you just use over and over and Xyz summon using those spell cards that each give different effects to your monster. This one gains 300 attack. This one makes it that it can attack a monster, your opponent monsters, several times during the battle phase. And this one lets you send one other card you control to the graveyard and attach one card your opponent controls to the Xyz monster this is under. It also has a field spell and a continuous spell that help you get more consistency out of the deck, and a trap card that I don't think you really play, in my opinion. The small Purely, the level 1, obviously works with cards like 1-for-1, which I think are also in the set as reprints, which is very obvious. And this little guy allows you to reveal one of the quick plays and use it and the quick play to summon one of the Xyz monsters. So there are 3 small Xyz monsters, which are the Plump, the Beauty, and the Happiness. So each of the small ones have a thrice per turn effect. This one banishes a monster on the field. Beauty actually attaches a quick play, and you can negate a card your opponent controls until the end phase of the turn. And Happiness, that returns one spell or trap your opponent controls to the hand. So basically, when they attack, you activate the quick plays, you attach further, you attach as many as possible, and then you go into either one of these boss monsters. So the Noir is actually incredible, but the Happiness, what it does is that during the main phase, you can detach one material from this card, and if you do, you Dark Ruler no more your opponent's field, and if this card has the level 1 Purely, it can't be responded to, so an actual Dark Ruler no more, which is really cool. It also has attack modulation effects, but this guy is the crazy part about this deck. So they can both be summoned. They're obviously rank 7s, but you're not supposed to summon them as rank 7s, even though you can actually do some crazy stuff with Kashtira here. What you are supposed to do is attach a lot of quick plays to your smaller ones and then reach a point where you have 5 or more materials and then slap either Noir or Happiness on top of them. So Noir, if you have 5 or more materials, it is unaffected by your opponent activated effect. It has 1100 attack, 28 defense, but it gains further attack from these quick plays. So it gets really, really big once it has a lot of materials under it. And you can detach 2 materials from this card, target one card your opponent controls or in their graveyard, place it on the bottom of your deck. This is a quick effect if you have the Purely, the small Purely, as a material. And this is not once per turn. So in theory, you slap this down, it's unaffected, and it can get up to 5,000, 6,000 really, really easily. And nothing can actually out it, right? Even things like Starving Venom that can gain the attack, even things like, you know, maybe Avramax, I don't even know. They can't really deal with this card because it can actually put cards back in your opponent's deck that interrupted. So that's pretty cool and pretty crazy. This is the Purely archetype, and the last archetype are the Rescue Ace monsters. Wait, 95% of you are not subscribed? Come on, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up on the video and subscribe if you are new for more awesome content. These are like fire extinguisher theme, I suppose. One of them is a warrior. The rest are actually machines. Oh, it's actually split sort of down the middle, half and half. The main point of this deck is, first of all, a spell card that lets you normal summon several times when you normal summon a Rescue Ace monster, so you can get a few of them on the board, so a little bit of spam. And the big one is the Turbulence. So the Turbulence, you can banish 2 cards, 2 Rescue Ace cards from your graveyard to special summon it. It's a 3,000 attack and defense. And during your main phase, every turn, you can set up to 4 Rescue Ace quick play trap spell cards or normal traps directly from your deck. So each time during the main phase, once per turn when Turbulence is on the field, you can set up to 4 quick plays or traps. And these are the Rescue, the Alert, the Contain, and the Extinguish. Each one of these have a different sort of control-y effect: bounce, pop, negate. And you set this up every turn to protect your board, and the next turn you just OTK your opponent. So the strategy is to set up a board that would be impenetrable enough to survive one turn, and then because they have such big bodies on the field and you can actually spam monsters really easily, you just OTK the next turn. They do work with things like, of course, reinforcement of the army for the air hoister that starts off your searches. Machinas, of course, if you look at these two, they have some sort of a resemblance, don't they? With those tracks as legs. So of course, Machinas, machines, Gizmecs, which this specific Gizmek as well has been reprinted in the OCG set. The fact that Gizmecs can actually special summon machine monsters that their attack is equal to their defense. If you look at all of these, their attack is equal to their defense. So it works really well with those Gizmecs, and up until now, maybe Gizmek Orochi was probably the only playable one, then maybe we're going to see more of these. And of course, Therions, that specifically King Regulus, that is like pure support for machine monsters. We have things like Clockwork Knight thingy, the thing that came out on Battles of Legend, that sort of turns everything into machines. This could also work really well. I think this is interesting. I think it's a very cool looking archetype. I don't really know how much power it can actually bring, but hey, you've seen Runic come out of the last Tactical Masters deck building set and actually take over as an engine. So I think Rescue Ace and Purelies can definitely work with other stuff as well. Last thing are the reprints. This is actually the actual list of the 9 reprints that we got from the OCG set. So we got Infernobles, Rhoda, we got the Gizmek 1-for-1 for the Purely, Hidden Armory, and Double-Edged Sword, which are actually insanely good for them in Concos. Specifically, Double-Edged Sword, it increases the equipped monster's attack by 2000. Also, both players take any battle damage from attacks involving the equipped monster, and if you take 2000 or more battle damage, then discard the graveyard. So this card is meant, again, for the Mekanko strategy, just to equip onto an opponent's monster, bring it up to a lot of attack over it, your opponent takes the entire battle damage, and it's game over. And, of course, Xyz Import and Xyz Tribal Rivals for the Purelies. So yeah, this has been amazing Defenders. I think very, very cool set. The first one of 2023. I'm really looking forward to see what comes up in the set. Should you buy it is the question of the video. And I think that some archetypes here might actually be playable. Purelies with things like Sprite and Anglers, and maybe even Rescue Ace with all the recent machine support that we got, might actually be somewhat viable, you know? One day, tier limits aren't going to be a thing, and something else will have to rise, and maybe one of those archetypes is an amazing defender. So let me know what you think about the set down in the comments below. Leave a comment, leave a thumbs up on the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you are new. Of course, if you want to support the channel further, head over to tierzerogames.com and use code GALZO5 at checkout for 5% off, and join as a member if you enjoy these videos to support me further. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.